Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Unlocking You 2.0 with myself, Spencer Bonin, and Balwinder Marwaha, your emotion and body code practitioner and your transformational leadership coach. I hope everyone had an absolutely outstanding weekend. Today's episode, we're going over, searching for happiness and what that looks like and kind of what's involved with that. So Bally, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass this right over to you and see what's going on consciously with finding this
Absolutely.
happiness everyone looks for.
Thank you so much for that, Spencer. And there's three things that I really want to touch on today. The question I get asked, and I actually get this asked quite a bit, is people ask me, "Hey, how do I become happier?" Or I want more happiness in my life. What do I need to do? And so, to be more happy or to have more happiness, it's all in your hands, believe it or not. So the first thing I want to talk about is truly, where does happiness come from? And happiness is something that comes from within you. It doesn't come from external sources, or if you're finding it from external sources, like if you're looking for others or things in your life or people in your life to make you happy, it's going to be very temporary. It's not going to last. It'll keep you happy in the moment, and then when that moment is gone, your happiness is gone. So, if you want to remain in a state of happiness, you have to really shift your mindset. And so, happiness comes from within your own mind. It comes from the choices you make and the things you do in your life and your belief system. So, having the right beliefs and having the right things in your mind is what's going to turn happiness inside of you. We've all heard the saying, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And it's very, very true. Life happens to all of us. And you look at it, it doesn't matter if you're Jeff Bezos of Amazon, if you're Elon Musk, it doesn't matter if you're the prime minister or the president of Canada or US. Um, Life happens. Things happen all the time. It's how you react to those things that are going to determine whether you're sad, happy, excited, whatever it may be. So the happiness really comes from your choice, what you choose to do. Okay. So with that said, Spencer, what happens on the subconscious side when we choose to do certain things?
Absolutely. And I was going to say, happiness, quite frankly, it's a choice. But that being said, if you have a couple of these energies I'm going to kind of talk about, that can make it a really difficult choice, or you might be very heavily swayed towards the dark
Mhm.
side, so to speak. So something that really kind of jumps out are these things that these statements in our mind, kind of we
Mhm.
call them the body code despair anchors or post hypnotic suggestions,
Yeah.
where they're kind of seeking to fulfill its truth, because your subconscious mind is so powerful that it kind of almost creates this stuff, right?
Mhm.
There's a couple that really resonate or kind of make sense, especially with this, where it's like, I can't be happy or I can't feel at peace. And another one, an actual real life example that kind of really that happened yesterday on one of my clients. They actually had the body code led me to a statement that said, I ruin everything. And I talked to them about it and I was like, does this really make sense for you? And then they were like, well, I actually say, this is actually something I say, everything I touch turns to crap. And I was like, really? Okay. Well, let's do a little test on that. Yes, that is exactly what the statement is. So it'll
Mhm.
take us close to it, but then just kind of getting that little bit there, that's exactly what the statement is. So imagine how much your happiness would be hindered is if you
Yeah.
constantly have this belief saying, "Oh, everything I touch turns to crap." It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's kind of hard to have that positive choosing mentality when it's like
Mhm.
that's just running on autopilot all the time.
Yeah.
So that's one example of what's going on. What else is going consciously, Valley?
So the next thing I want to talk about is something called gratitude. The way we actually create happiness as well is being grateful for the things we already have in our life. Now, absolutely everyone's life is different. What you have in your life is very different from what I have in my life and what Spencer has in his life. But we all have things to be grateful for. It doesn't matter how big or how small they are. Um, the fact that I'm here and you're listening to me, I'm very grateful for that. And because I'm grateful for that, I'm happy. It's a reality, right? So you have to be grateful for everything that you already have. That's what true happiness really is. It's not, oh, I'll be happy when I have that. Because let me tell you, when you have that, you still won't be happy, because then
Yeah.
you're going to want something else. Or I'll be happy when I have found my true love. Well, when you find your true love, if you looked for your true love to make you happy, you're still not going to be happy. You have to create it from within, and the way you create it is by gratitude. Being grateful for the things you have in your life, being grateful for the opportunities, for the people, whatever it is that's in your life, that's where it comes from. So, my challenge to you is, if this is something you're not doing already, I want you to every day send at least one message of gratitude to someone that you know, telling them why you're grateful for them. At least one, just Monday to Friday. It takes like less than 2 minutes. Pick a random person out of your contact list or someone that comes to your mind, and send them a message telling them why you're grateful for them. And what you'll start to see a shift in your life when you start doing that. You'll not only will that person be like, oh my God, how nice of them to say this to me, but when you start being grateful for the things you have and the people you have in your life, you start to raise your vibration, and you start to feel happier and more grateful, which is in turn really the same thing. So, Spencer, I can say, hey, let's be grateful, but then what happens to our subconscious mind when it wants to be grateful?
Absolutely. And I don't know if, some people out there, I've seen it in a lot of my clients and stuff like that. But there's something else in the body code that we talk about. And it's something, and we've talked a lot about it on this call, or on this video series, is something called an idea allergy. It's actually
Mhm.
where we have somewhat, our subconscious deems something as negative, so it actually tries to actively avoid or sabotage ourselves in some way. Or we might get
Mhm.
something like extreme stress related symptoms, where it's like an increased heart rate,
Yeah.
or we might start to get sweaty palms, stuff like this. But our subconscious mind deems it as something that's not safe, and it tries to
Mhm.
avoid it in any ways. Now, what if we actually had an allergy to gratitude, or to
Yeah.
joy, or to happiness, or to
Wow.
being excited?
Yeah.
Like, just think about that for a second. Imagine if
Mhm.
you are allergic to the idea of being excited, joyful, happy,
Mhm.
grateful for whatever, and your body and your mind is actively trying to avoid it in
Yeah.
every sense possible. Like, just think of the repercussions of that, right? So no
Yeah.
wonder, you might have a hard time feeling happy, or choosing that happiness path, because
Mhm.
that is actually something that could be very much going on in behind the scenes that we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
So that's another thing there. So what else is going on consciously there, Bowie?
Yeah. And so before I go to the last thing, it's so funny, Spencer, because yesterday you and I talked about a mutual client we have who had an allergy to excitement, right? So like,
Absolutely.
it's really hard to get excited or be happy when you've got an embedded allergy to that. So, this is something that Spencer and I work on and work with people all the time. So here's the last thing that I want to tell you is that, look, as I said earlier, that everyone's life is different. We're all in a different place. We all have different things. On that same token, different things make each one of us happy on different levels. What makes me happy may not necessarily make you happy. It may not get me excited. It may not be those things. So the true, finding happiness and being in this mental state, as I said earlier, it is a state of mind. It's not something that you can, go and pick off a tree or go and get from somewhere. It's really within this area in your mind that you really have to be happy. So, okay, we know it's a state of mind, but then what is it in our mind that makes us happy? What is it that really truly makes us happy? And if you don't know how to answer that question, or if you're not sure, hey, what is the answer to that question, there's some challenges you're going to face, and you're going to have a tough time being happy, being in that state of mind. So, and it's at that point where I say, okay, Spencer, this is really where it comes on to you heavily, because look, there's so many people, myself included, for many years. It's like I was walking around like a zombie. I just was doing everything on autopilot. I didn't know what was truly making me happy. until along comes Spencer and says, "Oh, look, you've got this trapped emotion. Oh, remember when you were 14, you felt this. Do you remember what event that was?" I'm like, "Oh, I remember that. I remember, I think it was, I remember this. Like, it's very vivid in my mind."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you know what? We just muscle tested, and yeah, that's it." And well, that was preventing me from being happy. So, Spencer, talk to us on the subconscious side. What is it that really prevents us from finding our true happiness?
Absolutely. And, the number one thing I would say that is the biggest thing throughout all of, people in general, they say
Hmm.
about 93% of people have this, and that something is called a heart wall. And
Yeah.
the heart wall is an extremely, extremely big part of this. So
Hmm.
imagine these little things kind of forming this energetic barrier around your heart, where this heart is trying to communicate with the rest of your body. It's trying
Hmm.
to get all these messages out to your lungs and organs and or other organs and glands, but it's
Yeah.
also trying to communicate with other people. And it's really what it does is it creates this energetic barrier and it puts that heart in your bunker and or in some sort of a bunker. And
Hmm.
when your heart's in a bunker, guess what's in your heart? Your mission, your purpose,
Yeah.
your definitely like these are the things that make me happy or that raise my
Hmm.
vibration or may put me in that state. But if you're
Absolutely.
in a constant bunker, guess what? You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
feel what makes you happy. You're not going to
No.
be able to feel this connection between, you and another person. You're not going to be able
Yes.
to feel any of that. So when you're talking about knowing what truly happiness truly means to
Hmm.
you, it's pretty dang hard when you have a heart wall and you're living in a bunker.
Yeah.
So that right there, actually, in fact, for me, that was the biggest reason why I decided to get involved with the emotion code and body code. As soon as I heard about that heart wall, I was like, what is that? I need to find out more about that.
Hmm.
So once I did and started diving right in, it's just amazing the differences that we see when
Yeah.
we start to clear people's heart walls, and that's exactly what we do. In the work of the emotion code, what we do with IOI, what we do
Hmm.
with our program. It's just a massive, massive part where it gives you more energy, gives you a
Yeah.
clarity on your mission, clarity of what's creating happiness in your life, all
Yes.
that stuff. And much, much more, like you wouldn't
Yeah.
even believe, like lowering depression, lowering anxiety,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So that's what I would say um, would be the number one factor of how to know what happiness
Hmm.
truly means to you. So with that,
Awesome.
is there anything else you'd like to say, Bally?
No, I think you really, you put a nail on it. That's it. It's in bed. That's really the true thing is that the biggest thing that's going to hold you back is your heart wall and these trapped emotions and not being, truly knowing what your mission is and what makes you happy. So with that said, listen, Spencer and I, what truly makes us happy is helping others. This is the reality. We love it when you tune in and listen and comment. Uh, we love just helping people make a difference in their life. And so, if you want help in your life, if you want to have a difference made in your life, I would love for you to connect with us. And as we've said in the past, we'll give you a complimentary either leadership coaching session or a healing session. Connect with us. We'll tell you all about what we do and how we can change your life. And there's no cost to do that. So, with that said, check out our website at www.leadyourideallife.com. There you'll find a couple of great videos of, it really shows what happens and what we do. And then this Thursday night, we have an amazing webinar that we do every week, just telling people about how they can overcome this terrible year that's been happening and what's going on in our lives, but really how you can become the best version of yourself and throw everything else behind and really truly look forward. Register now because space does get filled up. The website is www.2020recoverymanual.com. Register, save your spot. That webinar will happen Thursday night at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Definitely check it out. But let's say for some reason you can't make it or something comes up. If you've registered, you will get an opportunity to watch the replay. You can only get that opportunity if you register, though. So make sure you go and register there. If you have any questions, you want to connect with us, you need help, we're here for you. All right. With that said, take care, everyone. Have an awesome, awesome day and go and be happy.
See you guys.